displaying the glory of God's creation by exploring America one park at a time. Welcome to Parking Full Time with Big Dave, the parks professor. First hole. The par and distance are at the top of the screen. The parking lot off to the right is out of bounds, and the north property boundary is off to the left. And in spite of the fact that we're heading into the trees where the basket is up ahead, this is actually one of the more open holes on this course. We're heading into the woods, and basically the rest of this course is going to stay in the woods directly ahead here. I want to welcome you back to Parking Full Time. I am Big Dave, the parks professor. We are at County Line Disc Golf Course. We are at the Chesnee Community Center in Chesnee, South Carolina. This is the first basket and the view back to the tee. Second hole, and this is a fairly tight hole, but there's also a pretty low ceiling here created by the overhanging limbs. The property boundary that we saw on the previous hole is still off to the left here. I should mention that each hole on this course has two tees. There's a long tee and a short tee. We just passed a short tee for this hole a little ways back there. All of these video clips and all of the distances I'm giving you are from the long tees. From the short tees, this course plays kind of like a beginner's or putter's park type course. There's just a lot more to see and a lot more meat on the bone from the long tee. There's the view from behind the second basket. Third hole. Now this hole plays very differently depending on which tee you use. From the long tee that I'm showing you here, this is a fairly straight and fairly wide open hole. From the short tee, which you're going to see coming in from the right a little ways on up here, this hole is a sharp dogleg right. This little gap is where the short tee comes in from the right there. So very clever use of the two tees on this hole. These baskets, by the way, are veteran baskets, and they're excellent. They look brand new, and they catch the disc really well when I came here. Fourth hole is the longest hole on this course, and it's the only hole on this course that is not a par 3. As you can see, this hole's a par 4. It's a fairly tight hole, and the dense woods here makes it worthy of being a par 4 in my view. One nice thing about this course is the areas off the fairway are actually very clean. There isn't a lot of honeysuckle or briars or other things that you have to work through if you should stray from the fairway on this course, unlike some other courses that I've walked about. Now the basket is up here, it's at the edge of the woods, and there's a little trough or ditch, I guess, between the fairway and the basket. And that is the parking lot that you see there directly behind the basket. So putting here can be a little bit challenging, and you definitely don't want to overthrow. The fifth tee is back towards the fourth tee, and we stay in the woods. In fact, we stay in the woods all the way until the ninth hole, really. This hole's slightly downhill, and it starts out pretty open, but it's going to get pretty tight when we get up towards the basket. I captured this video, by the way, on Thursday, September the 28th, and it was a gorgeous day in the upper 70s when I came here. The basket up ahead is surrounded by almost a bird cage of trees, so you really have to pick your line into the basket carefully. You can see how tight it gets up here. In the bottom of these baskets, there are two arrows. There's a blue arrow and a white arrow. Those point the direction toward the next tee. The blue arrow points towards the back tee, the white arrow points towards the front tee. It took me a few holes when I played here to figure that out. Sixth hole is slightly uphill, and it's another fairly tight hole, especially when we have a really tight spot coming up here. Honestly, this is one of the more unimaginative holes on this course. One thing about this course, a lot of these 9-hole courses that I walk about and review, a lot of them have one or two really good holes and a bunch of really boring holes. This course doesn't have that. This course has 9 quality holes. So this course is better than a lot of 9-hole courses that I review. 7th hole plays slightly back downhill. Also, there is a property boundary off to the left. And in fact, there's a sign coming up here that warns you not to trespass on private property across the tiny stream up here to the left. The basket is located atop this finger-shaped type mound. And so just like number 4, that mound there, that makes putting much more interesting. This is a nice hole. Technically it's a water hole, although that stream is so small that you wouldn't really have any issues with losing your disc in the stream. Hole number 8 is the longest par 3 on this course, and it plays back uphill. The uphill is gradual at first, but it's going to get steeper when we get up here towards the basket. In general, this course plays over fairly flat terrain, and this uphill that we're going to come to here after we jump across this little stream coming up here. This is actually some of the steepest terrain on this entire course. We just jumped across the stream there, and now it is literally straight uphill to the basket. I like that they left these trees here. These trees make for nice little obstacles on this hole. Very nice hole here. 9th and final hole on this course, and it's the only really open hole. That is the parking lot off to the left, and that is a stormwater collection basin there off to the right. Now that stormwater collection basin, it is out of bounds, regardless of whether there's any water in it or not. And as you can see, when I came here during a dry spell, and there was no water in there when I came here, but there probably would be if it had rained recently. The basket is right up here. It's only like 40 feet from the edge of the basin out to the basket. And therefore, you need a really big arm if you're going to clear that basin. This is kind of a controversial hole for that reason. I'm not sure if it's one of my favorite holes, but it's nice to get out into the open, unlike the previous holes. That is the end of the course. Thank you for watching. Have a great afternoon. Take care, and Lord bless.